in a world
George, can you help me set up my recording studio?
Abso-freaking-lutely.
where voiceover talent are stuck in their closets
Is there a way to improve the quality of my audio files?
Oh yeah.
and they need to deliver finished audio tracks.
You are my hero.
Oh, thank you. That's sweet.
There is one man who takes it all on.
Studio time, excellent, Whittam's World.
Whittam's World, rated VO.
Hey there, everyone. This is George Whittam reporting for Whittam's World. So this week I've decided to dig into the topic of phone patches, which is basically the concept of being able to hear a phone caller while you're recording and have them hear you. And in some cases, also the ability to have them hear you play back audio that you've already recorded. So as you can probably imagine, there's a lot of ways to do this. And I've tried pretty much everything you can imagine. So this week I'm answering questions that came in from Roger Hyman. He was asking about using a JK Audio hybrid with a duet by Apogee. And Mark Chen was also asking about ways to hook up using Skype, using phone patches and different things to allow you to be directed over a phone line while you're doing recording sessions. So there's a lot of ways to do this, and Mark outlined at least 6 different methods. There's no way I can certainly address all of them right now, but I'll give you a rundown on a couple solutions. So let me talk about 2 basic ways that you can facilitate doing a phone patch setup. One of them involves Skype, and one of them involves using an actual traditional, what's called a hybrid, or a device that is used to patch into your telephone system. So starting with Skype, this is by far my favorite solution of all the different possible solutions, for a couple of reasons. One, you don't need to have a physical audio mixer to patch this other piece of equipment into, so you'd save the cost of buying a mixer and this additional hybrid device that a phone line would need to tie into your studio. So that's one good reason. 2, even if you're using Skype to call a landline phone, not just another Skype caller, because you can do both with Skype, the sound quality is better than if you were just using a traditional phone hybrid with a POTS or plain old telephone service phone line, like the one you have in your house with a dial tone, if you still have one of those. Do you guys all still have those? I don't. If you want to keep it simple, Skype will play very well alongside other recording softwares, primarily on the Mac system. In Windows, things get a little bit messier, and I can't guarantee that's going to be the same for everybody. I know recently I've had clients have a lot of trouble when using, say, Adobe Audition 3.0 or something on Windows alongside Skype. So it's not going to work great for everybody. Some of you may need to run Skype on a separate computer and then patch the audio in using a mixer, complicating things a lot more. But if you have a Mac, Skype will run right alongside any other recording software like Twisted Wave, and the two can share the same audio hardware very easily. So you set the same input for your recording software, let's say Twisted Wave, and you set the same input for Skype, the microphone setting. Make them the same. So when you're recording into the microphone, your audio is also feeding to Skype simultaneously. Easy peasy, they hear you. The speaker setting in Skype, you just set to the output device that you are using with your headphones. Now, if you don't normally use headphones when you record in the booth, and many of you don't, you will have to get used to using headphones. You can't use a speaker because if their voice starts coming out of the speaker while you're speaking, that could end up getting into the recording and ruining a take. So you don't want to go with a speaker in most cases. So if you have to get an earbud or something, or some kind of a headphone and you're not used to wearing one, some people suggest using very lightweight, small, like iPod style earbuds and just putting one in one ear, just enough so that you can hear their voice in your one ear, but it's not distracting you too much. So that's a workaround. Another solution is if you have any kind of a smartphone or an iPhone or anything, you can do the same thing with those. You can either be using Skype or just be using a regular phone call, plug the earpiece into the earphone jack, have the phone in the booth with you, and just they'll hear you through the microphone on the phone. The microphone's very sensitive, and if it's sitting there on the table within a few feet of you, they'll hear you just like you're on speakerphone, and you'll hear them through the earpiece in your ear. So again, a really simple solution. The next solution is involving more equipment, and that's using a traditional phone hybrid, which is a piece of equipment that you can patch in to your studio and will tie into your telephone lines so that everything is tied in together. This is the way we've been doing it for years, and some people still like doing it this way. I call it the old-fashioned way. But you're still going to be using a normal phone line, and you can use whatever existing telephone line you're already using in your studio area. And the phone line plugs into the hybrid box, and it passes out the other side to your telephone, sort of like you would the way you would hook up a fax machine. And then you're taking the output and the input of that hybrid and plugging it into a mixer. And the mixer then allows you to hear yourself, hear the caller, and send the sound of your microphone to the caller, all at the same time while not recording the sound of the phone caller on your recording track. And that's what's called a mix minus. So you need the right kind of mixer to do that, and I really love using the Mackie 802 VLZ series mixers for this purpose. I think they work wonderfully. You can use Behringers, Yamahas, anything that has an auxiliary send will do this very, very easily. So, setting it up correctly is not that difficult. Basically using an auxiliary send to send the audio to your hybrid and receiving the hybrid to another channel of your mixer will allow you to hear them without sending yourself, without sending them back to themselves again, creating an echo loop. That's what that mix minus is all about. And as for Roger's question about using a duet with a JK Audio hybrid, you can do it, but it's a little bit complicated, and you have to use the mixer panel that comes with it called the Maestro. That's what it's called. You have to use Maestro, and it takes some tweaking to get it just right. So that's the kind of question I'd like to address more privately because it's such a specific scenario. I have almost never had a client buy a JK Auto hybrid and a duet and want to use them together in the same studio without a mixer. So if you want me to help you with that one-on-one, I'd be happy to do it. Let me know. Thanks again for sending in your questions. I really appreciate it. If you'd like to have your question answered on the show, please send it in to whittamsworld@edgestudio.com, and I'll answer it as soon as I can. And if you want specific help on your own needs, or you need more rapid response, or your question's a lot more specific, then you definitely want to check out vostudiotech.com. That's our technical wing of Edge Studio, where I can better address your needs. I've got all sorts of services that will help address your problems in a timely manner, and will get you up and running as quickly as possible. So thanks again. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next week.